What's going on YouTube? So as the list of sedan offerings continues to dwindle, some automakers such as Hyundai are actually expanding their lineup of sedans. And this is one of those new products, the Sonata Inline, which adds increased performance and a much more aggressive design to Hyundai's quintessential midsize sedan. We've been testing out this new model for the past week. So does this scratch the performance itch without compromising the important family-friendly features? Let's go ahead and find out. So this new generation of the Sonata was already a very aggressive looking sedan. So they definitely had a good place to start when they're adding more aggressive elements for the inline. So up here in the front, you'll notice some of those more aggressive elements. You've still got that signature Sonata grille, but it's been made even more aggressive by going for a new texture on the inside as well as a full gloss black finish. And then you'll also notice on your grille, this lower part is also been made more aggressive, and this is a special element just for the inline. And then up above that, you do also have of course, your inline branding. Now let's take a look at the headlights next. These haven't really changed for inline duty, so you still have the really neat Sonata headlights. So I've been seeing these out on the road at night. Still really catches my attention. They're fully LED. You have the daytime running light though that comes down through here, and when you turn this off, this just turns to a piece of chrome. So this is just a really cool and very distinct looking element since it runs all the way up to here. Now of course that very bold and aggressive design does continue here at the wheels, which you can see right as soon as you walk up to this vehicle. These are very bold 19-inch contrast alloys with a super unique geometric design that really stands apart from all the other Sonata trim levels. And you do, of course, have the branding right there in the middle. Now, while I'm down here, I do want to talk about one option that we have on this inline, and that's the fact that we have summer performance tires in place of the standard all seasons. As we move on up, inline branding, of course, and the mirrors are finished in a special gloss black. You've got your LED turn signal, as well as the standard blind spot monitoring and heating.
Now, of course, here at the side and rear, there are going to be some unique touches for this Sonata inline model. So I don't think it's quite as different as what you'll find in the front. However, there are a few touches sprinkled here and now to make sure you know that you bought the inline. So of course you have these really cool taillights as you would on any Sonata. However, the inline does add this black lip spoiler right here in the middle. And then if we drop down, looking at the taillights themselves, these are going to be LED taillights. They're full length, and then your reverse light is integrated down into the bumper. And speaking of the bumper down here, you will also notice another inline exclusive feature, and that's going to be your quad exhaust outlets. Instead of just the single dual exhaust outlets on one side, it looks a lot better, and these are actually real exhaust outlets. Now, one of the really nice features about the Sonata is that they're going to include every single one of your safety systems as standard across the board, regardless of what trim you go on. So that's going to include forward emergency braking with pedestrian detection, lane keeping assist, adaptive cruise control, and auto high beam headlights. And I think it's particularly worth noting that's better than something like the Kia K5 that kind of separates out the safety systems into different trim levels. Well guys, that's going to sum up this really aggressive inline Sonata on the outside. Now let's go ahead and check out the luxury they put on the inside before we take it out in a spin. And before we do all of that, you know what would really make my day? If you hit that subscribe button down below.
So walking up to this inline Sonata, of course, since this is one of your higher end trim levels, it will come standard with Hyundai's smart entry system, as well as this key fob with remote start built into it. You can also use their digital key system, which allows you to unlock with a key card or an Android phone. And then to get inside the vehicle itself, just reach behind the handle since there is a sensor. Alright, and take a look at this cabin. As you can see right off the bat, the inline is going to throw in quite a few different touches to show you that you are driving a special Sonata. Now, I'll start off by talking about your different interior color and material options, which will be pretty quick because you only have one with the inline. So what you're looking at is the special inline seat. It does have a sport design with thicker bolsters, and it is finished in a fine Napa leather along the sides, which is very high quality type of leather, and then the inside is finished with a Dynamica insert to hold you in place as you drive along. You also have some red color contrast piping, and you have your in branding right there in the middle. So this is a very nice looking seat, also very soft and comfortable. Now turning over here to your door trim, it is very nicely finished. We have leather covering pretty much the entire thing. So you have leather on the armrest, this leather above it with the color contrast stitching. Then the top part will be padded. We have a dark finish door handle here on the inline, and then your front two windows will be one touch auto up and down. You do have your aluminum pedals, and then as far as the seats themselves, you do have 8 ways of power adjustment. Now, this generation of the Sonata has always had a very nice cabin, and that does continue for the inline as well, of course. So the only part of the upper dash that's hard is going to be right above the gauges. All the rest of the upper dash is actually going to be finished in a leatherette material with a stitching detail, so it looks very nice. As we move down below that, all this will be soft touch plastic. And as we go down to your lower areas, we do have a faux aluminum trim through here, piano black around the shifter, and then this part here will be hard touch. Everything in here does also fit together very well. Then to start it up, put your foot on the brake and press the button. And right as soon as you start it up, you will be greeted with a very premium feature, and that is these full digital 12.3-inch gauges. Just like with other products, this is a very vivid and well done gauge cluster setup, and you even do have some special touches like the gauges that I have right there for the inline. You can cycle between plenty of other kinds of information, plus when you switch drive modes, as you can see, the design itself does change, so that's definitely a very nice touch. Now, I do want to mention though that the head-up display is limited exclusive, so you cannot get that with the inline. Now, pulling back to the steering wheel, we have a very nicely done steering wheel. We've got the same design as the other Sonatas, which I do like, but we've got some dark finish accents in here as well as the end branding. We do have a double color contrast stitching and a perforated leather here on the side, so this is a very nice steering wheel to hold. You will also notice that we have dark finish paddle shifters as well. Now, as far as the wheel itself, it is going to be manual tilt and telescoping, and heating is not available with the inline. Okay, so now let's go ahead and move next to interior storage. So underneath our center console here, we have a very generously sized bin, plenty of space. As you can see, we've got some sunglasses and some hand sanitizer in there, and even with all that stuff in there, check it out. I can very easily fit these coupons in here like this, or I could even put them in sideways and they're still gonna fit. So that's very impressive. Up in front of that, we've got our 2 cup holders, a little slit right there. And then we also have another generously sized storage area up here in the front. This part will double as a wireless phone charging pad, and then you have your USBs and your 12-volt outlet right there. Now, just like with your other Sonatas, you do have an electronic shifter kind of raised up here, except that it does have in branding. And as you can see, very simple operation. You're just going to press the D for drive. Like I already mentioned, the N-line does come with those dark finish paddle shifters. And then for reverse, you'll just press the R. Heading up here to your backup camera, as you can see, you do have active trajectory. However, you do not have a 360-degree camera option available, and you also don't have parking sensors with the inline. Those are going to be reserved for that limited trim level. And then for park, just press the P. You do have an electronic parking brake located on the other side of the steering wheel, and you also have your brake hold button located right there. Alright, now rising up the dash, we're greeted with these very premium looking climate controls. This of course is a dual zone automatic setup. As you can see, you can just adjust your temperatures very easily with these nice and high quality knobs through here. You also have physical controls for your zones right in there. And right next to that, you will notice that we have standard 3-stage heated seats with the inline. However, you can't get seat ventilation. That's going to be limited exclusive. Alrighty, and now let's move on up here to the audio system. So the inline does share the same audio system as the fully loaded limited in this case. So that's going to be a 12-speaker Bose premium sound system, and we'll go ahead and give it a sample right now. Wow, so overall sound quality of this system is really excellent. Definitely a very loud and very bass heavy sound system that really impresses for this price point. Okay, so now let's take a look next at our infotainment system here. So as you can probably tell right off the bat, we do have the larger 10.25-inch display when you choose the inline. When you choose this is going to get you the latest Hyundai software. So you have the home screen right through there, and then you get your apps when you swipe over here to the side. As you can see, performance and the graphics are very nice. With the large display, you also have standard built-in navigation. I'll give you a peek at what that looks like. Once again, pretty nice and very responsive. You can also collapse the side menu over here to make that take up the full display. Now I do want to mention Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, because just like with other Hyundai and Kia products, if you choose this larger display, which is required with the inline, you will have wired Android Auto and wired Apple CarPlay instead of the wireless on the lower trim levels. And finally, moving up here, you have an auto dimming mirror with a frameless design, 3 HomeLink universal remotes on the bottom side of it. And then we have a very premium feature, especially for this price point. As you can see, we have the full panoramic sunroof. And since this inline really doesn't come with any options, it is included as standard equipment.
Alrighty, so here I am in the Sonata inline's rear seat. Now, of course, this is the performance Sonata, but it still is a family mid-size sedan, so this rear area is very important. Now, as far as these space figures are concerned, we're going to be looking at 35 inches of rear legroom, 38 inches of rear headroom, which does place it below the Toyota Camry as well as the Honda Accord specs-wise. However, behind rear seating position I would say, a solid 7 to 8 inches of rear legroom, and my feet can slide up underneath the seat, so I'm not sure how accurate those measures are. It seems very, very spacious for the Sonata. Now, as far as the features you're going to get on the inline, we do have rear vents, which is a nice touch. If we drop below that, we have a charging USB port, and if we fold down the center armrest, we do have cup holders inside. However, we're not going to have heated rear seats. That's going to be reserved for the limited trim only. Now, walking up to the trunk of the Sonata, you're going to notice that we do, of course, have the typical Hyundai hands-free smart opening trunk, which I think is a really nice touch. And as far as the space itself is concerned back here, we're going to be looking at 16 cubic feet of space, which does put it ahead of the Toyota Camry, just a touch behind the Accord. So this is certainly a lot of space, even for the segment. And as far as how they finished it, we have a nice carpeting on the floor. If we lift it up, we do have a spare tire, and your seats do fold 60-40 split. Now over here at your passenger seat, you do still have a manually adjusting one. And if we open up the glove box here, We do have a really good sized glove box. This is certainly bigger than my Hyundai Elantra, and it fits the coupons in there just fine, so you can save money for your family. And as far as the sun visor up top, we do have a large mirror, we have lighting, and we can also detach and extend it. All right, I'm gonna try out launch mode here.
All right, so if we pull out here.
Yeah, there's a car coming, but he's way back there, so he'd be good. Okay.
Press the thing off here.
Okay. Floor above.
This thing scoots.
And this is a Sonata. What the?
Launch control. I bet you didn't think you'd ever say launch control and Hyundai Sonata in the same sentence. So, what do we have on board here with this inline? Of course, you have a special engine. So you've got the 2.5 liter turbo 4-cylinder engine, and that's making 290 horsepower, 311 pound-feet of torque, which is
Very
a lot
healthy,
of horsepower,
yeah.
a lot of torque for a midsize sedan. And just behind the wheel, this really just feels like a lot of power. Even after you're underway, like it's enough power to push you back in your seat. It really is.
I mean, we've been very impressed with this engine in a lot of different applications, and most of which are SUVs. And then to put that into a sports sedan like this, it really just is enough to make you smile. And as far as a 0 to 60, I think Hyundai quotes this at 5.8 seconds. So this is certainly a very quick offering. And it may even feel a little bit faster than that.
So even though this is a family sedan still it also has sport pretension. So let's head out on a country road here and test it out. I'll go ahead and actually put it in sport mode as well because that does get everything in its best form.
Yeah.
So if you're noticing here on the inside, the exhaust note actually sounds pretty good in this. A lot better than I expected it was going to. Now, of course, there is some amplification inside of here, but especially when you put it in sport mode, there's really a deep tone that's surprising for a 4-cylinder, and I definitely enjoy it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So let's talk about the transmission as well. So this has got an 8-speed dual clutch automatic transmission versus the regular 8-speed automatic in the rest of the Sonata lineup. You can really tell the difference. I'm glad that Hyundai went the extra mile by adding a different transmission for the inline because it really does help the performance of this model. Shifting, of course, is super fast as you expect for a dual clutch. Yeah, just lightning fast.
It's really just kind of uncharacteristic to have a family sedan be able to really make you smile like this.
That's right. That's one of the things we noticed with this inline Sonata is this is a vehicle that you can kind of forget you're driving a Sonata.
Yeah.
Which is, I think, a really cool thing because this is still a Sonata at heart and has all of the positive family attributes, but as you can see, we're taking some corners here, and this thing really holds its own. Good body control. They really tighten things down here. You have pretty minimal body roll as we go around corners. Yeah. I also like what they did with the steering as well. It's light in normal mode. As you go to the Sport mode and the Sport Plus mode, that's going to tighten things up here. And it's very fast as well.
The torque is really an amazing thing, because you can even be, go ahead and you're driving 40, 50 miles an hour, and then if you put your foot down, it really does still push you back in your seat. Very impressed by that, and I'm just going to go ahead and declare that today's slam dunk is just kind of the sport and family balance between this Sonata inline, because this really does a great job of, you can have fun. I'm having fun right now as we're driving on this country road, but this is still a Sonata, so you got the family side of things as well, so it's really the best of both worlds.
That's right. All right, that seems like a fitting time for me to talk about the airball for today. And that's the fact that, as we said, we've got really impressive power and really impressive torque, but it's paired to the front wheels only. So this is a front wheel drive only vehicle. You cannot get all-wheel drive, and that does have the expected result of losing traction to the front wheels at certain times, as well as having some torque steer to manage. I will say it does a pretty good job managing it. I've definitely driven worse front wheel drive midsize sedans with torque steer and stuff like that. However, it's just the laws of physics. No matter what, you are going to have certain situations where you lose grip and have to deal with that. And we would definitely appreciate if this was offered with all-wheel drive, because that would really enhance the performance.
Yeah. But now that we kind of got stuck behind a car here, I do want to, just talk about the family side of things with the Sonata. I got tasked with the boring stuff today. Drew got to drive. But I got tasked with just the family side of things, which is very important when you buy a vehicle like this. So just cruising along here, this is really no different than the average Sonata in terms of ride quality. I'm not noticing that it's a lot stiffer or anything like that. And it really just is a super comfortable car. You got plenty of space in here. And then, later on in this drive, we might get a little faster and we can get a sound level reading, but it definitely seems very quiet in here as well. And as far as the fuel economy, that's going to be coming in at 23, 33, 27 miles a gallon combined, which is around 3 to 4 mpg less than the just regular 1.6 liter in the Sonata that I venture to say most people will get. So really not a huge fuel economy penalty for going for the inline.
So I'm using the paddles a little bit right now. Impressively responsive. I'm very happy about that. Like I said, this dual clutch is really quick, which I super appreciate. And the paddles work right in there with that. Wow.
And that is why you buy the inline, boys and girls. So this one, as equipped, comes in at $34,564 after the destination charge.
Yeah, it really puts the power down pretty well. A lot better than you'd expect for just front wheel drive.
All right, we got to get our sound readings to comfort mode.
Yeah, let's get into the normal here. Just relax, and I'll slow us down to our usual 55 miles per hour.
We're looking at 56.9 decibels. That's certainly a good reading up here at highway speed. So
that's right, and like you said earlier, as we're just cruising down the highway, it really feels like a normal Sonata. Everything calms down, everything is quiet in here. For instance, when we had the TRD Camry, couldn't exactly say the same thing because that did have some compromises, like with the droning exhaust and stuff like that.
And I really think that's a great place to conclude this video and just talk about how the Sonata is really the best of both worlds. Like he said, you can have fun, and then as soon as you pop out here on the highway, you can just put it back into comfort mode, and you could be hauling around your 2 children in the back. That's really the beauty of this, and to top it all off, you have a ton of value coming in, just a touch over $30,000. Well guys, we really appreciate you watching this in-depth review of the 2021 Hyundai Sonata Inline. If you made it this far in the video, hopefully that means you found this video helpful or you really enjoyed watching it. So be sure to pay us back by hitting that subscribe button down below. It's completely free to you, and it doesn't cost you a thing to join this family. So go ahead and do that, and I promise you, you won't regret it. Anyway, we'll catch you next time as we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies.